a drink and I'll be down in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Out of town or whatever, we don't give a fuck. The deal is done, now the cake been baked. They need to come on with the drama, whatever they gonna do.
What is up, you yellow-bellied thoughts? Oh, God. I can see how this is going to go already. Anyway, so welcome to the third episode of the Mac Daddy Seminar. As always, I'm your host, Taylor Dunn, and we're going to get right into it today because we have a lot to talk about. So first off, I said last week how, I was really looking forward to this weekend. I had a big weekend planned, and I spent about 60 hours in the car with my family. We are all super fucking stiff. I feel like I have rigor mortis because I sat still for so long. Because we drove from Mississippi to Alabama and then stayed the night there and then got up the next day and drove to Atlanta and then back from Atlanta the same day. We didn't get back till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the next day we drove back to Mississippi. Like, hey, when am I going to unlock fast travel? Okay? Because I am tired of driving everywhere. Okay? I feel like once you get to a certain age, like scientists need to just go ahead and release that type of technology to people. Like, that's one of my biggest concerns is people over the age of 70 being out on the road. Because it's not safe, for one. But, like, if you have the money or you have, you should be able to fast travel like you can in Skyrim and in video games. Here I go talking about some damn video games again. But seriously. Like, if I play, like, Red Dead Redemption 2 and I don't feel like riding my horse for an hour, to get down to St. Denis, guess what? Your boy is fast traveling there. Because I don't have time for it. I don't. I want to get there. I want to rob people. I want to, do the missions, go bounty hunting. And that's how I am in real life. I want to go and do my shit as fast as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Anyway. But yeah, so we went down to Alabama Friday night for my sister-in-law's 21st birthday. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the difference in temperature. Okay, it's starting to get a little bit cooler down here in Mississippi, but if you drive not even 3 hours north, but just 3 hours kind of northeast, like just a little bit, up and to the left from Mississippi to where I'm from in Alabama, it literally was like a 30-degree temperature drop. I didn't pack appropriately. Like, I have a couple of flannels and shit like that, because I'm just a goddamn lumberjack when fall comes around. But, I only brought like 2 jackets, so I was freezing, okay? Like, everybody's like, why are you shaking like that? I'm like, no, I'm over here tip drilling. What do you think I'm doing? I'm cold, okay? It was ridiculous. But yeah, so we went to my sister-in-law's 21st birthday party, and it was actually really, really fun. Me and my wife, ever since having a kid, we don't really get a lot of opportunities to drink and kind of cut loose, and we let it all hang out, man. We went there. She had her birthday in this small town country bar, and we go to the same one every single time we go home. And for the most part, it's normally not very good. They play it, like, that's the thing, okay? So if it's a small itty bitty little bar, it's not a nightclub, okay? And everybody's like, why aren't you dancing? Because they know I love to dance when I go to clubs and shit like that. But I'm not going to dance when there's 3 people on the dance floor. And one of them is probably going to be my mother-in-law. That's just kind of weird to me. But Hey, I did get out there and like slow dance with my wife, but I'm going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, like it's just weird to me, like the whole dynamic of it. It was a lot of fun. They had an excellent band. Okay, like their guitarist for the band, like I felt like me and my wife were like Bill and Ted, like excellent. You know what I mean? Because he was so good. He was one of the coolest looking dudes I've ever seen. Okay, he was a white guy, and he had a beard, and he had really dirty looking dreads, and he played the guitar while he had a cigarette burning in his mouth that he never touched. He just continued to drag on it, and the ash just kept getting longer. And the entire time I was like, that guy definitely used to do hard drugs. Most likely heroin. Now, I hope it's not true. I don't advocate drug use, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of really good guitar players did heroin. And he was really, really good. He played a bunch of, like, heroin songs. You want to know an example of a heroin song? Listen to Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner. Tell me, look me in my face and tell me that that's not a heroin song. Like, I could just hear that playing over intercom speakers in a dirty gas station bathroom while I sit down on the floor and I tie off. I feel so bad that I'm making fun of this, but it's so funny to me. Like, I was pretty drunk and I kept saying, like, that dude used to do heroin. My wife was like, shut up, somebody's gonna hear you. But that's how, like, our entire marriage has been. It's me saying dumb shit and my wife going, oh my God, stop. But yeah, what's another good heroin song? A lot of Leonard Skinner, a lot of the blues, anything that like really sounds good when you've been drinking is a good heroin song. I've never done heroin, and I'm not advocating doing heroin to make you a better guitar player, but that's what it sounded like. Yeah, we had a really good time. Hung out with my sister-in-law and all her crazy-ass friends. They're always super fun. But, they're all young. They're all, like, 21. I say young, and I'm 24. Me and my wife are 24. But there's such a huge age difference gap from 21 to 24, in my opinion. And it's so Alabama to be an old man in a bar on a Friday night hitting on 21-year-old girls who are there with their boyfriends. Grabbing them around the way. Like, I'm sitting there at the bar and I'm watching like some 60-year-old man hug up on my wife and talk to her and be like, how come you don't go over there and give your sister a lap dance? Because, it was her birthday, so everybody was having fun. It was all harmless. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, I will throw this beer bottle across the room and hit you square in the forehead with it. He wouldn't even see it coming. I'd just be like, whoops, it's kind of slippery. Tink. Right square in the forehead from across the room. I bumped into a bunch of people I went to high school with. And of course, everybody was giving me shit because, I got the whole mustache thing going on right now. Everybody's like, yes, it is No Shave November. And yes, I'm attempting to grow a magnificent mustache. And you know what? I think it looks pretty damn good. I don't care about your opinion. I really don't. Okay? My wife likes it. I've had several compliments. And you know what? I'm going to continue to go with it. I might even let it go past November. I might even continue with it after November. I might go into December. No shave December. I might just keep growing out a mustache that I can curl up on the sides and look like an 1800s entrepreneur. Okay? That's such a sick way to grow a mustache, too. I guarantee you that guy that has the curled up mustache on the end, he knows every type of craft beer and IPA that there is. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. But yeah, we had a really good time. Aside from like old men hitting on us, not hitting on me. That would have been real weird. But other than like old men hitting on my wife and, you know, the guitar player, which was very, very good, but he looked like he used to do heroin. It was a good time, but I had way too much to drink. I can't drink for shit anymore. Like, I seriously, like, I used to be able to knock them back like it was going out of style. Just shot after shot, straight liquor all night long, mixing, you know, dark with light liquor. It was, you know, when I was 21, I could run up a $200 bar tab on myself and wake up the next day and feel fantastic. But now, all I had all night long was beer. Just a couple of Miller Lights, man. You know? And then, you know, my father-in-law was there, and he was buying shots, you know, because we were celebrating. He was like, give Taylor a shot. Come on now. And I was like, no, if I drink that, I'm, you know, because it was some sugary, girly shit. I was like, oh, if I drink that, I'm going to be hungover. But, you know, he was offering it to me, and it was free. So I was like, you know what? Sure. And I drank the shot, and it tasted like candy. And did it give me a hangover the next day? Yes. I woke up the next morning, and I felt like somebody had, like, I felt like I was one of those whack-a-moles, because I just felt like this circle on the top of my head was killing me. Absolutely giving me one of the worst headaches I've ever had. But you know what? That's fine, because for some reason, the sober me always looks out for the hungover me. It's just like some type of weird, inadvertent way that my sober mind will be like, oh, let me buy a bottle of water. I bought a bottle of water at CVS, and I left it in the CVS bag, and then sure enough, the next day when I'm headed to breakfast with my family, I'm hungover as hell. I feel like I'm about to puke. And then I look down in the floorboard, and guess what? I have a bottle of water and a CVS bag to puke in, if I need to. Which I didn't, but it was so nice to have that water that sat in the bottom of my car in that frigid ass Alabama weather all night long, because it was nice and cold. And I drank it, felt better. Went to Cracker Barrel, ate there. That's like one of the best hangover cures is Cracker Barrel, hands down. I felt fantastic after that. And then we, after we ate there, we went back to our house because we were going to rest up because we were driving to Atlanta that night. Because we were driving all over creation that weekend. That's what everybody said when they were asking, like, oh, what are y'all doing here this weekend? We're driving all over creation. That's what everybody said. Yeah, we're going to, well, we just got here from Mississippi and we're driving to Atlanta tonight, and then we're driving back. We're not staying in a hotel, and we're driving back to Mississippi, and they're like, oh, y'all are driving all over creation. You know? I hate it when people make up, like, little sayings and cutesy shit just to talk about, you know, just throw in random conversation. But I also kind of like it at the same time. I'm weird, okay? But yeah, so we went back to the house and we rested up a bit to drive to Atlanta. And we're not used to driving in crazy traffic, okay? And if you're headed to Atlanta, it's like 10 lanes of traffic. And everybody's just cutting people off because I don't get the people that are like, oh, I have to be in front of those people. It's weird. Like, why do you need to be in front of everyone? You know what I mean? Cutting people off. But we ended up getting there safe. We got the show was at the Tabernacle in downtown Atlanta. We went to the Crystalia Follow the Leader tour. I'm a huge, huge Crystalia fan. And, I've always wanted to see him live. So, we went down there, and we got to the show, but we got there like an hour early. So, we had to look for something to do. And, we started walking around. It was right there in the Central Olympic Park, I think was the name of it, in Atlanta. And it was pretty cool. It was really, really pretty park. And what made it so neat was, it was right down in, the very center of Atlanta. And, it's like a goddamn mouse and with cheese maze down there. If you've never been to downtown Atlanta, like, I did not expect it to be like that because I've never been in there. But yeah, we got there and we were like an hour early. And we parked. Everything was cool. So we were like, well, we got to find something to do for an hour before we can go into the show. And I got in there, or I got, out of the car and we started walking around. And it was right there in that Central Olympic Park in Atlanta. And it was absolutely beautiful down there. If you've never been, I highly suggest going. And, we went and looked at the fountain with the Olympic rings. That was really neat. Even though we watched some girl try to jump into one of the center of the rings and water shot all over her. And I was sitting there telling my wife, like, I guarantee you if I try to go out there and get in the center of that so we can take like a really neat romantic picture, I will have water shoot straight up my asshole. Like, I will time it wrong and it'll, and then I'll be freezing all night long. They also had this really cool Ferris wheel right next to the Tabernacle. And we couldn't get on it because the line was like an hour long. But what was really cool was while we were standing there just looking at the Ferris wheel and taking pictures and stuff, I don't know if a lot of people have seen it, but it went viral on Twitter a couple of weeks back. There was this guy, this black dude, and I didn't know he was in Atlanta, but he was doing like street magic with cards. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, duh, because I recognized him, and he knew that I recognized him. He's like, you recognize me from the internet, don't you? I'm like, yeah. And he started doing these tricks with cards. And it was some of the best trick magic I've ever seen. Like, we pulled out like a 2 of hearts, and he set it on my wife's hand, and I put my hand over the top, and he pulled the 2 of hearts out of his deck of cards and then made us raise our, pull it up, and it was the 7 of clubs, which he showed us right before he did the trick. As soon as he did that, I was like, dude, do you fuck with the craft? Are you a warlock? It was so cool. And the entire time, he was doing I want to say he was rapping, but it was almost like poetry. He was just saying all this real slick shit and rhyming with it. And it was really entertaining. I felt really bad too, because we didn't have any small bills to give him a donation. But as soon as we told him hey, sorry, we don't have any cash, he was just like, oh, that's cool. And he played with my jacket and pulled out one of those little square things that you can plug into your phone and swipe a card. But, my wife is afraid of credit card scammers and stuff like that. So she was like, no. And I felt really bad too, because I told him like, hey, if we go in there and I buy something, I'll get cash back and I'll come out and give you a donation. And when we were done with the show, he wasn't there. So I felt really bad. But hey, if you see that guy on Twitter or anything like that, let him know I owe him $5, because that was really, really cool. But yeah, so we finally got into the venue for the show, and we sat down. The Tabernacle Theater is beautiful, by the way. It's really, really old, but it is a beautiful venue. And we went to the show, sat down, and it was great. The opener, Mike Lenoci, he was fantastic. He did great crowd work. Really, really good comedian. I can see why he's touring with somebody as big as Chris, because he definitely is really, really good. Definitely suggest checking him out if you get a chance. But then Chris came out, and he started doing his set, and it was really, really good. This is the thing, though. I expected them to have those little bags. There's this company called Yonder, and basically what they do is, like Dave Chappelle, and I went to go see Chris Rock, they had this thing where when you get there, you have to put your phone inside of this little bag, and they didn't have that. And the reason they do that is because they don't want you filming their sets. They don't want you filming it, because that's the thing about comedy. If I say something that may be appropriate for a room of 100, 200 people, it may not be, because of the PC culture, it's probably not something you want out there for everybody to hear, and then you get a bunch of backlash from, all these different, social media people, whatever, because that's how everything is nowadays. But anyway, so yeah, the point I'm getting to is, so Chris is in the middle of his set. It's really, really funny, really enjoying it. The only thing that I didn't like was where we chose to sit, which we sat on like the third balcony up on the side. And I mean, he literally was like 20 feet away from us. But the person in front of me had such a big ass fucking head with a big stupid hat on that I literally was wobbling and weaving like I was fighting Clubber Lang all night long so that I could see him. Every time he went left, I had to go right. And every time he went right, I had to go left. But other than that, the show was fantastic. But the point I was trying to get at, goddamn, can I not ramble off on a tangent every time I start talking? The point I was trying to get at was, while Chris was on stage, he stops like mid-performance and he's like, hey, sweetheart, hey, you, put your fucking phone away. And it got real tense. And he's like, oh, you're taking a picture of me? You've had your phone out pointed right at me for 19 minutes. You're filming me. And he's like, he went off on her. And I understand why, like, after going to that Chris Rock show and having to put my phone in those little bags, I realized, okay, if a comedian is up there and he's touring a certain amount of material, like an hour-long material, he's probably going to try and sell that to Netflix. He's going to shoot a special with a lot of that same material. So if somebody films the entire thing and then posts it on YouTube, they're not going to make as much money because everybody's already seen it already. So I get why people don't, comedians don't want you to film them during their set. Sure, take out your phone, take a couple of pictures, that's fine, but don't film the entire set. So yeah, he embarrassed the shit out of that girl, and I'm glad he did. That was one of my favorite parts of the entire show. I absolutely thought that was hilarious. And it was a great show. It turned out fantastic. If he's coming to a city near you, definitely go check out Chris D'Elia. I highly recommend it. It's so good. One of the best stand-up comics I've ever seen live. I highly suggest going to check him out. But that, that's the thing with everybody posting these videos, just trying to get likes and, get as many views just for something stupid, Like, all these wildfires are going on right now in California. And my, thoughts go out to these people because, a lot of people are losing their lives and losing their homes. And, it's not something really to joke about. But I saw this video, and Dana White, the CEO of the UFC, posted it to his Instagram. And he was just like, my heart goes out to this brave girl. And the video is somebody just from the perspective of them driving, and they're driving through all the hills of California, and it literally looks like something out of a movie, with all of the, flames around them and the trees burning. It looks like they're driving through hell, literally. Excuse me. And the entire time she's like bawling her eyes out, crying, and she's like, oh my God, please let the horses be okay. Oh God, I hope they're okay. Please, Lord, let me get through this. And I'm just sitting there thinking while I'm watching this, why the fuck does she have her phone out? Why are you filming that? Why? If it's so important that your horses are not burning alive, which I really hope, if that is true, I hope everyone was okay. I hope she's still alive. I hope she rescued all of her horses. But why would you film you driving back through that if you're not just trying to get attention? You know what I mean? I see so many things and I'm like, well, that's weird that you chose to film that. Like, I just was on Twitter a little bit ago, and I saw this video of this woman laying down on the floor, having a seizure, quote unquote, and her dog comes up and slides up underneath her so that she doesn't bang her head into the floor. And I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, that really is convenient that you have a camera down pointed at the position that you had just fallen perfectly on the floor, like you're trying to film the mice running around in your kitchen or some shit. People do this type of shit all the time. I'm like, hey, why are you filming that to begin with? There's so much stupid shit on the internet. It really makes me sick, man. Like, some of it's funny, though, and that's why I continue to have a Facebook. Like, I took a break from Facebook for a while, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. But yeah, I saw this thing on Twitter just a little bit ago of this dude, or not this dude. It was just some article, and it was like, police in Dubai are testing out flying motorcycles, and it's this dude sitting on what looks like a Sea-Doo, except it's got like 4 little helicopter propellers on the side. And I'm sitting there going, the fuck? Imagine you're driving your convertible Lamborghini and you run a red light and a cop comes after you and he accidentally overshoots your traffic stop and decapitates you and your albino tiger. That's what I thought about whenever I saw this. Why is Dubai so millions of light years ahead of us in technology? Dubai is literally like Wakanda. Okay? Everybody there is insanely wealthy. And I want to go to Dubai so bad. I can't, if I ever get an opportunity to go, I'll probably take 400 million pictures. Because that's how excited I would be just to be in Dubai. Everybody there has a Lamborghini. And an albino tiger, by the way. everybody there is like Daddy Warbucks, you know? Anyways, I think we've kind of, you know, beaten this thing to death, man. Yeah, so like I said, continue to, you know, show love, continue to share the podcast if you want. You know, continue to send me questions. I'm not really getting that many right now, but that's cool. I understand. There's a lot better stuff to listen to than this one. But, you know, it's building. It's, you know, I'm starting to, you know, get a little bit more feedback from people in person. You know, so continue to support. I really appreciate it. You know, continue to share the hashtag MacDaddySeminar on Instagram, Twitter, and, you know, just send me questions, guys. I'm looking forward to what you guys got to say. And, you know, I'll be back next week with another episode. Thanks, guys.